Now, I know that there are a lot of elected officials in this room, but I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Alexi Giannoulias, who's our candidate for Secretary of State, a statewide candidate, and Commissioner Donna Miller, who serves with me in the Cook County Board of Commissioners. I know there are others who will acknowledge further the elected in this room, but I want to be sure that in addition to our sponsors and co-hosts, I acknowledge the two of them. You know, I'm a history teacher, and my favorite quote from Dr. Martin Luther King is, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. And I always add that it doesn't bend of its own volition. It takes hard work from all of us to bend the arc. So I want to thank everybody in this room for the good work that you do each and every day, promoting justice and equity in our communities. I want to particularly acknowledge Pastor Singleton, because I know that he has been a leader in this community in encouraging people to be vaccinated. And the big challenge we face at the moment is getting all of our residents vaccinated and boosted. We have more than 120 people in the hospital, Cook County Hospital, Stroger. One of them, only one of them, has been vaccinated and boosted. 2/3 of them are unvaccinated. 2/3 of the people in our hospital, who are in our hospital, are unvaccinated. It's critical. It's critical, if we're going to mitigate the effects of the pandemic, that we get people vaccinated and boosted. And whenever I speak to folks, I ask them to be evangelists for vaccination. Usually we think of evangelism in religious terms. I'm asking you to be evangelists for vaccination. We're not going to be able to recover, either in terms of health care or our economy, until we get as many people as we possibly can vaccinated. So I'm thankful for your presence here today. I'm grateful to Pastor and First Lady Singleton for bringing us all together, and I wish you well. Thank you.
Yes, this is the Bradley Report, and y'all know I'm Wallace Gator Bradley. I'm the urban translator. I'm also the president of United Peace, Inc. One of the things that's very important, Madam President, we've talked about this, and the importance of people getting vaccinated. Could you explain the importance of them being vaccinated and the fact of what's happening with the Cook County hospital system?
Right. Well, first of all, Gator, thank you very much for having me on your program. I'm grateful. Now, this is a really difficult time for Cook County. We've got more people in our hospital with COVID than any time in the past 2 years. I'm going to say that again. More people with COVID in our hospitals than any time in the past 2 years. And 2/3, 2 out of 3 of every person in the hospital with COVID is unvaccinated. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. 2/3 of the people who are in our hospital with COVID are unvaccinated.
And that makes them really the problem of keeping this virus grow and grow and grow.
That's right. And the more people who are unvaccinated, the more the virus kind of bounces around and has a chance to mutate. And we have a new variant. We've had Delta, we've had Omicron. Who knows, we may have another one, because we've still got a significant portion of our people who are not vaccinated. So whenever I speak, I encourage people to be vaccinated, not just for yourself, but for everybody you care about. Because if you get the disease and maybe it's mild, you may give it to your grandmother or your aunt or your cousin who has some long-standing health issues like diabetes. Many of our folks have diabetes or high blood pressure or asthma, and they may not have a mild case as you would. So you want to protect yourself, and you want to protect everybody you love by being vaccinated.
You know, for my viewing audience, I'm vaccinated, car can member. Something else, Cook County Jail. I was reading where the COVID has took an upshot or uptick within there.
Yeah, the problem we have, of course, is the jail reflects the larger population. And when the virus is spreading in the larger population, it's also in the jail. And the difference between people outside the jail and people in is it's a congregate facility. People are kind of packed close together. And so it's harder to keep control of the virus in the jail. So we gotta do everything we can to see that the community outside the jail is protected, because that helps protect us everywhere we are, including the jail, detained in the jail.
I want to say on this note, This is the political time of the year. And like I tell my viewing audience, vote, don't choke. What's your message to those that aren't registered, should get registered, by you being the chairman of the Cook County Democratic Party? What's your message to all the voters?
If you want government that cares about you and that acts in your interest, you got to put people in office who care about you and will act in your interest. And the only way you can do that is if you're registered and voting, okay? So I always say the first obligation of any citizen is voting. The second obligation is to help and support people who you believe are good candidates. But first and foremost, you got to vote, and that means you got to be registered.
So if you can't register, you can't
Vote.
scream. No,
That's right.
You can't scream.
That's
if you ain't
right.
registered, you can't scream.
Don't complain,
Don't
if
complain.
you aren't voting, okay?
Madam President, again, I want to thank you.
Thanks very much, Gator.
All right, then.
Thank you.